The content machine powers down. Only to be powered up in 2025 with new Gatling gun arms. Alright there, you little demons. Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Choose Your Own Adventure, the weekly medieval-themed format where I, the Crown Jewels of WhatCulture.com, take a list chosen by you. Yes, you, the person who is using a new microphone today, so apologies if it sounds different/worse. I'm trying my best to make it sound different/better, but sometimes these things don't work out, and hopefully I'm praying to the techno omniscire over there, the tech marines, and also Sai to make sure that she actually can work with this. Fingers crossed, sounds good. Yes, you get to decide what list I dial out to each and every week, and as I look for my amazing kazoo, we have none other to thank than Xantharos for their suggestion of NPCs who will utterly batter you if you annoy them too much. And you know what? I kind of resonate quite well with this list because I feel in my day-to-day work life that that's all I do to my colleagues. I annoy, I poke, I prod, but I do so with love. Because I do actually fear that most of the people that I work with have the ability to make me look terrible with just a few clicks. Always respect your editors, and that is what we're here to talk about today. Because I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 NPCs who will obliterate you if you annoy them too much. Just don't be obnoxious. Or do, and be charming about it. That's what I try and do. Does it work, Si? Number 8, Old King Doran, Demon's Souls. Now, From Software games are known for their dangerous NPCs, but there's one above all others who you simply will not survive pissing off, and they will not sanction your buffoonery if you dare mess with them, and that is Old King Doran from Demon's Souls. Now, in his defense, he does offer up a totally reasonable deal to players who track him down at the Balaterian Palace. He'll initially ask you to prove your worth and let you attack him, while offering up only the bare minimum of resistance in return. But once you've depleted about 25% of his health, the encounter will end, and then he'll invite you to take one of his swords, Demon Brand. You're advised to just walk away, but players who keep hacking away at old poor Doran over here get one hell of a nasty surprise if they persist enough to rinse about 50% of his total health. Because at this point, Doran will quit playing around and fight back hyper-aggressively to the point that he can easily kill most players in just one hit or two. Now, there's clearly a lesson here about knowing when to quit and when things are good, just walking away, but since when did Soulsborne fans ever know anything like that? Yeah, it's a bit of a problem we have, isn't it? Because as soon as we see something, you're just like, I'm gonna kill it. It's like, that's my mum, dude. Like, what the freak, man? I'm gonna stab it anyway. It might be holding something cool. Yeah, it holds my collective memories of happiness. That's what you'll be getting if you kill her. Don't. Why do we invite this guy over? Number 7, Karen, Hades. Now, stealing from somebody is a surefire way to piss them off. Put it down, Si, don't be stealing my Warhammer. Warned you about. And that is no more true in real life than it is in video games, and case in point, we have the example of Karen in Hades, or Sharon, some people have said, but it's not that, it's Karen. If you visit the ferryman/shopkeeper and see his floating bag behind him, the game will offer you a prompt to, borrow some 300 odd gold. Now, if you select the prompt, then Zag over here will swiftly celebrate his free money, only for a record scratch to swiftly signify that you've kind of just committed a terrible faux pas. At this moment, the Stygian boatman will teleport the pair of you to an arena where you'll be forced to take part in a secret boss battle against him. And unsurprisingly, oh my god, one of the hardest bosses in the game, and they are sure to make short work of pretty much anyone who attempts to topple him on their first attempt. So yeah, don't know if I need to tell you this, but still, so I bring in the sort of like, what are we saying this, the public service announcement banner that we've got here? Citizens of Earth, do not steal. Or do, if you're kind of like an anarchist, or a Marxist, because at the end of the day, it's for the good of the people. Everyone should be sharing everything. You know what? Steal! I probably shouldn't be saying that, should I? Number 6, anyone who sees you kill a chicken. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Now, understandable though it is that Skyrim's denizens will start to get a little pissy if you start killing their chickens, their response surely qualifies as quite excessive force all the same. Now, to better explain, if you kill even a single damn chicken in this game, you'll soon find yourself being pursued by a growing mob of vengeful, armed NPCs who can hack you to pieces in short order if you don't stay on your toes. As horrible as it might be to needlessly slaughter a chicken or two, the fact that the locals go from 0 to 100 like this on the bloodthirsty scale is, well, it's definitely a choice, all right. But then again, in their defense, you have just killed not only their meal, but potentially their friend and potentially a distant relative to Big Pidge. What up, Big Pidge in Skyrim attire? Like it, love it. I told you don't mess with him. Where's he got that from? Now, maybe, just maybe, there should be a few steps between you killing the chicken and the local militia trying to skin you alive. Maybe you could have made an apology. Maybe you could have offered to cook the chicken as a fine roast meal for them. But no, if you so much as harm a feather on their beaky head, they're just like, oh, well, been a hard day, toiling in the fields, guess it's time for killing. Pass me my bloody mace. Bye, this is how I walk. Number 5, the Mudokons. Oddworld Abe's Exodus. Now, in the first Oddworld game, Abe's Odyssey, players who rescued less than 50 of the 99 Mudokons have to settle for the bad ending, in which Abe's fellow slaves refuse to lift a finger to save him from execution. It is pretty grim in a game that is very grim to begin with. But in the sequel, Abe's Exodus, the Mudokons graduated to taking a far more active role in your demise if players once again just could not be arsed in saving them. And you have to go out of your way to not save some of these guys, because if you rescue less than 150 of the game's 300 Mudokons, you'll receive another bad ending where this time the Mudokons tear you a new one before knocking you unconscious and straight up delivering you to the bad guys. Needless to say, the Mudokons, just saying it weird now on purpose, didn't take too kindly to their apparent saviour doing a half-assed job of the whole revolution thing. And you're then forced to watch as Abe is tortured and eventually electrocuted to death, much to the villain's amusement. It's just like, hey guys, that Abe fella, he's not lifting a finger. No, I don't like that. But sorry about that. It's okay. Let's go kill Abe. Number 4, Hinox, The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. Pour out for the big beast right here from A Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, because you know what? They just wanted Link to leave them alone and stop trying to shake them down. Now, this solitary poor old chap, this silly little fella over here, lives in a cave behind a waterfall in Eastern Lorule, and the moment you approach him, he'll quake in his boots and beg you to spare his life. Hell, he even sweetens the deal by offering to pay you some rupees to go away, but greedy players who try to extort him for everything he's got will end up with a rather nasty surprise, because if you get him to pay up a total of 4 times, on the 5th attempt he'll finally lose his temper and just start attacking you. It reminds me of that stand-up set that's been doing the round on Instagram at the moment, where it's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, shame's back on you because you're taking advantage of somebody else over here. But fool me 4 times, well, yeah, it's passed back again because at that point in there, I shouldn't really know what I'm doing at this point. But fool me 5 times, I'm gonna start beating your ass. And his attacks do a massive amount of damage, and worse still, he can't be killed once he's enraged, so your only option is just to leave the cave lest you get absolutely pounded into body paste. Just don't be greedy. Don't steal, or do, and don't be greedy. Number 3, the referee. WWE SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain. Now, anyone who's seen even a single wrestling match will surely appreciate the time-old tradition of referees being absolutely glass-jawed by people and then just being left unconscious for minutes, hours at a time, it feels like sometimes. But I love it. They just get brushed and they're like, oh, I've fallen and I can't get up. But this was hilariously and seemingly accidentally subverted in WWE SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, which by way of an incredible glitch allowed the refs to actually get their own back on aggressive players. Now first, it is worth noting here that Here Comes the Pain allowed referees to actually fight back against players who hit them. So if they came up to them and just like, I'm just going to clock the referee out, hit my opponent with a chair and just get the easy win, they're just like, oh, not today, my friend. Reverse kick you in the stomach, boosh, with a chair. It's crazy. And during a first blood match, where you can only win by making your opponent bleed, it is possible for refs to retaliate at just the right moment, hit you with a brutal counter, and make you bleed. But in a riotous twist, this doesn't win the match for your opponent. The referee will actually and inexplicably win the match and have their hands raised by another referee in a celebratory post-match cutscene. It is a brilliant little Easter egg and it's just so stupid. None of this makes a lick of sense, but it's certainly one hell of an amazing way for the ref to take control of the match and to punish players for actively attacking them. Number 2, Al Gore, South Park, The Stick of Truth. Now, we're admittedly using the term annoy rather liberally here, given that all you have to do to antagonize Al Gore in South Park, The Stick of Truth is not reply to his Facebook messages. If you get fed up with Gore just spamming your Facebook feed with his needy and incessant messages, you can just go and confront him, at which point he'll quickly get irritated with your presence, come to the conclusion that you're actually man-bear-pig in disguise, obviously, and initiate a fight. Joke's on him though, because I'm actually man-bear-pidge in disguise. This whole, pidge thing is just a gimmick? No, it's a way of life. But here's the big surprise. Al isn't just a regular boss, he's one of the hardest bosses in the entire game, in large part because he eventually sicks his powerfully armed Secret Service detail on you for massive amounts of damage. The bitter irony of Mr. Gore getting miffed at you for getting annoyed at his pestering presence on social media. I mean, it's ridiculous. But all the same, you're advised to wait until later on in the game in order to confront this guy, because he and his goons will indeed wipe the floor with low-level players. And number 1, Barkang Monks, Tomb Raider 2. And finally, we have the monks from Tomb Raider 2. Oh boy. In the late game Barkang Monastery level, said monks are tasked with protecting the monastery from goons that are sent there by Marco Bartoli, which I definitely misread when I was a kid and thought that his name was Marco Broccoli. Ah, dyslexia, you are a foul creature. Now, generally, they do a pretty damn good job of cutting these rent-a-cops down to size, but things can get quickly problematic if you decide to stick your oar in, or, to be more precise, Lara Croft's Uzis. Even if you mean well and train your aim at Broccoli's guys, if you miss, you might actually end up hitting the monks and they'll instantly turn to attack you and will not let up. Ever. Not until every single one of them is dead. And given that the monks can easily overwhelm and kill Lara in huge numbers, and the fact that they're a massive help in dispatching Broccoli's mercs, it's certainly a huge mistake to do anything to upset them. Basically, do not even engage and risk incurring their wrath if they're busy just kicking ass and taking names. Just leave them to it, and you will reap the benefits. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 NPCs who will obliterate you if you annoy them too much. I hope you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. And as well, put your suggestions for next week's episode down there as well. And if you want to chat to me in the meantime, you can go over and follow me over on Blue Sky, where I'm at RetroJ, but the O is a 0, and you can follow my lovely editor site over on her social medias over here as well. But before I go, my friends, I want to just say one thing. Even though we spoke today about how people will retaliate if you annoy them too much, let's instead of trying to burn some bridges, like we just did in these video game examples, let's build them instead by going out there with love in our hearts for not just ourselves, but our neighbours as well. Because trust me, my friend, it's the only way we're going to get through this crazy thing called life, and that is together. So make sure that you're treating yourself with that respect and others as well. It's pretty simple, right? Pretty simple, but you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Anyway, big love to you, my friend. Hope that you go out there and kick some ass today at the start of 2025. I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Hopefully the microphone's worked and you've been able to hear me the entire time.